Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome to Two Rivers Talks. I'm Darla. My sidekick Todd is still not able to be with me to do these broadcasts. Hopefully here in the very near future, he will be back because I miss him. And today, so basically I am your connection to all things Two Rivers. You know, if you used to live here and you're still curious as to what's happening in the Two Rivers community, or if you're a current resident, or if you're thinking about moving to Two Rivers, this is the place for you. We talk about the arts and the fun things that are going on in the town. You'll find what current events are happening, and more. And right now, things have obviously changed quite a bit with the COVID-19. Today, I do have a really special guest, Ms. Lisa Quistorf, who is the district administrator for the Two Rivers Public School District. And we're going to be talking about how the school district is dealing with COVID-19 and still being able to teach our kids and keep them involved, and to make things more special for them, because this is a very difficult time for them. So I am going to bring Lisa into the stream. I'm a little slow, sorry. There she is. Hi.
Hi.
And how are you today?
I am good. It's different. It's working from my home office, which I didn't have before. I didn't have a home office because I didn't need one. I only lived 7 minutes from the high school. So for me to go, I would just, at central office, I'd work all the time and just pop home. But now I'm here because our central office area is small, and we have 9 people that work in that space. So what we've done is we've made a calendar, and so we only have one person in there every day, and just to rotate, just because of social distancing and making sure that we're staying healthy and safe. And all of us are capable from working at home. The danger to working at home when you're not used to it is you work all the time, because now your office isn't 7 minutes away, your office is 7 seconds away.
Right.
So it's easy to pop in and continue to do things. So
do you ever just work in your PJs?
I do, like when I get up early in the morning, but then I have to get ready. But I've done that even when I worked at school. The first thing that I always did every morning is I would get up and I check my emails. I don't take my phone with me to bed, because I used to and use it as an alarm. But if I would wake up in the middle of the night, like at 2 or 3, I would look at my phone, and then I would be done. So now when I go to bed, I don't do that. So the first thing I do is I check emails. So I always start with a cup of coffee, and I start my pajamas, and I just see if I have anything. Sure. And then once I've done that, then I get my routine and I get ready and get ready for my day. And
I think that's great, because I know I'm guilty of a couple times of just, why bother? I'm going to be at home like editing or what have you. So, but it is important to stay in a routine and keep life as normal as possible.
And because I do so many meetings like this, there's not a day that I do. Well, Saturday and Sunday I don't do Zoom meetings, but I do Zoom meetings or Google Meets every day. Today I spent at least 8 hours in Google meetings with different teams and different groups, or on the phone talking, doing all my connections that way. So I usually get prepared, because I know that I have to look like I'm in a meeting. I still dress more casual. I try to do the Raider, the purple and gold, just because I'm proud and
Mhm.
I like that. I like it, and I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and that's important too. But yeah, so you had to create a office very quickly at your home.
Yes.
So, but I mean, we've all had to adjust, and I think everybody's come through pretty admirably,
Hmm.
especially with the Zoom meetings. And at first it was kind of chaotic, especially if it was new technology to people. It was to me, and
It was very chaotic and very emotional. That very beginning, when we found out and the governor made the decision, which actually took place on that Friday, March 13th, when the announcement was made that our school buildings would be closed. We were not in school on that Friday. It was an in-service day for our staff, so we were all in service, and we were busy working the day that it made. And our spring break started on Monday, so we were not in our buildings, and our kids were not in our buildings. So when we found out, and people knew, of course, there was a little panic. What's going to happen? Are we going to get paid? What's all going to take place during this? And we got busy right on that Monday of spring break with the administrative team that were here, because we did have some people that were going to be gone on vacation. And we did our best to put together a plan, an idea on how, first of all, we were going to get all our stuff to our kids. And that was very emotional, to walk into our buildings, and our custodians, like at the high school, had to unkey all the lockers. Staff came in over spring break, and of course with gloves, and making sure that we were social distancing and gathering kids' items and bagging them up, and making a schedule and deciding how we were going to announce. We did it the same at every building, as we had people with mics at Koenig, at McGee, at Clark in the high school, and we set up those sessions, and they would, whoever was out on the front would say the student's name in the radio, and the people inside would get the materials, and then they would deliver them to the car. A lot of people would just open their trunks or a door, and also very emotional, because sometimes the kids would be in the car and they'd see you and they'd be like, "We miss you." So they knew at that time that they weren't going to be coming back, but we did not know at that time how long it was going to be.
you wonder what was going through their minds. I mean, it was confusing to adults. I can just imagine how perplexing it would be to like a second grader or a third grader or, any.
Mhm. And I think that's probably one of the parts when we look at the important role that schools play. Not only, we think of education, but just an important role in community, really helping to build that home and school aspect together. Because I mean, I don't know, Darla, for you, if you think like I think about the person that I am and who I am, and it's because of my parents, and it's because of my teachers and those that mentored me throughout my life. It's the combination of those people, those groups of people, that why I am who I am, in that guidance. So for a lot of kids, who some come to school because it's their safe place,
Right.
and it's the place that they look to for structure and guidance, now is no longer there. And even for kids who look for that structure and guidance and have support at home, it's just something that's so out of the ordinary, to be home all the time, and to know that that's where you need to stay. The whole social distancing aspect is another component, and COVID-19 being so elusive, where, for our community, which we are very fortunate, we don't have people that are sick. So for kids to understand, well, we don't want to get COVID because you could get sick, so we're staying home. And so really sharing that information and making sure with parents, and providing them right from the beginning. When we did our first newsletter, I did a little YouTube. It's I can't even think of the name of what it is, but it's a Google product where I video myself and then I just download it and change it to a YouTube, because a YouTube link can be seen by anyone on Facebook or email, or so everyone will have access to it.
Right.
And I just explained that, we're going to work through this process. We don't have clear answers. And I think that's the part that's so hard about it, but we're going to work through it together.
Right. Well, I think that, you were faced with an absolute challenge at the 11th hour. And like you said, it was right before it was going to be break and nobody was around. So I applaud you and your staff, all the teachers, all of the employees who work within the school district, to make the transition as easy as possible for these children and for the parents. And so how long did it take for you to distribute the kids' belongings in?
Well, the items that we delivered, we did it on, actually, we had a plan to do it in 2 days, but the first day we had such good, it went really smoothly. Parents were absolutely amazing. We did divide it up by alphabetical just to kind of alleviate the traffic that day. I worked out of McGee on that day just because we looked at where people were needed. So I worked out of McGee, but Koenig, McGee, Clark, and the high school, I think one thing, and the feedback from the parents where it was smooth and it went well. And that day we did a 1 to 3, and then we had a second day set up, but not every school needed it because we had everything all picked up. Parents were amazing in coming in and getting information. What happened after that is we made appointments if parents couldn't pick it up, because even though our buildings are closed, we still have access to our phones and to emails, and so we can go in and get items. And now we still have some items at the high school that haven't been picked up yet. No surprise, because high schoolers will be high schoolers. And so what we're doing with that is we're having our school resource officer, Officer Zipper, so he'll just do a home visit and deliver those at the house. But it's been really pretty smooth. I'm very impressed with our families being able to support and get that, first of all, the virtual component. If students didn't have computers, because very often a parent will have the internet at their home, but they just have their phone. And their phone, because we know it's a computer, it's a mini computer, and you have access to everything. So a student didn't have a computer at home. We use Chromebooks in our district, and all students 5-12 have a Chromebook, but our younger grades did not. And so if a family doesn't, we have some that are housed in the schools, and so we just distributed those to children that needed them.
Okay. So how did your teachers rise to the challenge of having to teach virtually overnight?
Well, teachers are amazing, first of all, I must say. And when you're in the business of doing the best for your kids, you do whatever you need to do to be able to meet the needs. Okay. So they virtually did, just like a lot of parents, learn this overnight. Not that they're not computer literate, and we know that some people are access it more, use it more, are more comfortable. But now, since March 13th to today, May 1st, we have become better at using Google. We have become better at how we use it. We've become better in limiting. I think in the very beginning, the natural response from teachers was to recreate what they did within the school day. And that had to be actually kind of thrown out and say, we need to relook at this and say, how do we best meet our child's needs in their home when we have some families with children in all of our schools, some kids that have to babysit their little siblings, small toddlers. Some of our kids were working in grocery stores and working 40 hours a week because it was so busy. So you really have to look and you have to be flexible. And fortunately for us as a district, we've been really working on PLC, which is Professional Learning Community, and our teams by grade level and departments have been focusing on the big ideas and the big essential learnings that we want every child to have. That's the science of the teaching. What strategies and what are we going to use to be able to do that? Then comes the art of teaching. And now we are starting where teachers are getting comfortable at being able to let go of the step-by-step requirements and the instruction and really focusing on the art and supporting the whole child. We can't just look at the math or we have to look at the whole child. So when we look at what we've been doing as a district, we've been getting amazing ideas from everyone, whether it's a teacher, a parent, a student. We take those ideas and we implement them into our district, into our community. We've really hung on to We Are TR, which is a beautiful slogan for our community, and our purple and gold, which shows a lot of pride. And then we've used, we did, teacher lip syncs to songs that are just to remind our kids that we are there for them. And probably the one of the nicest thank yous that I got from that is a parent wrote, this was last night, my daughter cried and had a really sad night, and she couldn't sleep because she was missing her teachers and she was missing her friends, and the video came out the next day, and she said, thank you so much for this. And how it took place is Alex Serrata, who is the associate principal, is the one who saw the idea and said, I'd like to do this with the Clark staff. And I said, that's great. Let's do it for every school in the district. And I fortunately have my youngest son is very good at that stuff. And so he lives out in Connecticut, and we shared a file. I got all the stuff from the teachers. I put it in there, and he put Clark, not Clark, because Alex Serrata did Clark, and I mean, all of them were just amazing. But he helped us with that project, which was really important in a time when teachers are absolutely overwhelmed with meeting the needs of their kids, getting that academic piece in there, and really trying to do it all, and then not feeling like you're doing enough. Because as much as we talk about all the support and all the strategies that we have virtually, we have some students that still don't have that option. So our teachers also do packets. So every Friday we mail packets for some kids, we do it for all students, like our younger grades, kindergarten and first grade, just because there's the hand manipulation and cutting and little things like that. So we send those to all those students, and then we send them to all the way up to 12th grade. If they don't have the internet, they get packets mailed to their house. They can take a picture of their work. They can talk about it on the phone, but that learning component continues. And the other thing that it puts in place is teachers no longer are like off the clock. And so we want to talk about the wellness of our teachers to make sure that they take a break from the screen and from the responsibility of making sure that you're reaching every child.
One thing I was wondering about is the kids who are studying for their SATs, or is it ACTs that they take?
They already took them.
They did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a big concern at this point. We'll see what happens.
Yep, they already had their ACTs.
Okay, good, because I just remember the stress of
Yeah.
studying for that way back when. But I took SATs. I'm from California, so we were doing SATs. But anyway,
and the one thing I think that we want to remember is the state did give us the opportunity to, they did waive assessment requirements, because before we did all the state assessments. And I think one of the things that I hope that comes from this is when we look at what a school does and what it brings to the community, and I think the dedication and the assessments that a district puts in place to make sure that our students are learning at high levels and what we need to do to be able to meet those levels, having a state assessment and comparing schools, which we do now, is so unfair, because when you look at one assessment, and if you if you compare, and we know that students will do academically better on performances like that, depending on their economics. So a community that's lower socioeconomically isn't going to perform as someone higher.
Oh,
But that
yeah.
doesn't mean that they're not being truly successful in what they do. Our population, we don't have a high population that goes to four-year college, but we have a population that goes to two-year college. We have a population that goes into the military. We have a population that goes into the workforce. When we look at how and what our students do and give beyond education is amazing. And it comes from, the parents and the teachers, and like we had talked before, working together, and the community working together. And this event and the silver lining that I see from it is how we've gotten even closer. We've gotten more supporting. People start to realize that teachers are more than, just the classroom books in a classroom. They really are the glue that holds a community together. And I think if we think of ourselves and how we grow, like I had said earlier, it really is because of our parents or aunts and uncles, important adults in our lives, and teachers guiding and working together to really mold and grow and support our kids.
And I think this is nice for the family too. I mean, you talk about a silver lining because uh, typically the kids would go off to school for the day. You had no idea what they were doing. They'd come home. Do you have any homework? Yeah, we'll go do it. And that was, if you have
Yeah.
any questions, ask me. I won't know the answer, but I'll try. But with this, now the parents are a heck of a lot more involved in their children's education, and that must be eye-opening to them. And it really, it seems like it's a very old-fashioned world in that respect.
Well, and I think it's really important when we think about that, what we need to focus on right now. So when we think of parents, because parents, and they'll say, I didn't sign up to be a teacher, so I'm finding this to be really difficult. So our job is, one, to support them in that process, and then to look at how they can support, enjoy, and create learning opportunities right within their own home. And we've had amazing examples of that. What we've done in our district is we've created Wellness Wednesdays. So every Wednesday is a different theme. So this past theme, they could take a virtual vacation, and we don't have we'll make a video of it when it's ready, but that virtual vacation, kids have gone to, someone went to uh, France, she went to Paris, and I'm just thinking of some of the things that I read. And then some chose not to go on a virtual vacation, but maybe they decided that they were going to bake cookies. Someone was going to do magic tricks. And so they send these things in that they're doing as a family that we never had that component before. So when families can learn that they can celebrate that part of being together, having game night, cooking a meal, those are things that we're really trying to say, you know what? This might be a perfect opportunity for us to say, slow down, enjoy the things that's most important in life, your family,
Right.
and then learn how to take a break because when you're together all the time, you need to be able to take a break too for your own wellness. And
Right.
I think, this has really strengthened that part, and the important part. And I just hope that when we go back, parents will be as involved as they are now as when we go back into the classroom, because we need parents. It really is a partnership. And sometimes we get so caught in our routine that we think parents should do their parenting duty and teachers should do their teaching duty. But really, when we blend together, who we're helping is who we're both here for, and that's the child.
Right.
And that's the beauty of what we're doing.
And those children are very complicated little machines too. So
They they are very complicated, beautiful and complicated.
yeah, a lot to nurture in so many different ways. Um, Now, you wanted to talk about Spirit Week.
That's when we talk about wellness. What we did was we had Spirit Week, and during Spirit Week, every day was just a different day, and it was just like I talked about. How do we celebrate one rate of pride, who we are, and they could put in videos, they could send pictures, but each day had a different theme. We love our pet day. We are TR, and teachers, the families took pictures, teachers took pictures of themselves as well. And then what we did each night with those is we would download them, and then we'd add music to them and put them on Facebook and put them on our website, so that students and families had the opportunity to see what they did together and see what people are doing each in their own homes. I think it's really kind of reinvigorating to be able to see families doing such positive things together during this time, slowing down and enjoying it. And it's good for the kids also to see when teachers take part and they see their pictures. And we had crazy hair day, or actually it wasn't crazy, it was called bedhead day. So it was like bedhead day. So then it was just taking your pictures of yourself with bedhead. And really the reality when we think about the kids, one of the things that they're doing, I know that there's a pajama party tonight. So some teachers will do a pajama party. The kids put their pajamas on, they join by Zoom, the teacher reads them a book, they talk and celebrate. One of the teachers has game night, so there's all different games that you can play on the internet, say Scattergories or something like that, and they just play it together. Some of our teachers do lunch with their kids, so it isn't anything about classes or courses. They just have lunch, they put their Zoom on, they sit, have a conversation, get to see each other, and is really that social aspect. And when we think about what we do, the beauty of being in and working in education is we get to work with people every day. Little people, big people, medium people, middle school people. It's the beauty of what we do. And we don't create something like a widget. So nothing is ever the same. It's always different. The kids are amazing and they're unique, and you get to be able to see them to grow. You get to watch them celebrate mile markers. And I think that's probably one of the benefits for me being in the district for 30 years is, I've had a lot of my students, I've had a lot of my teachers, as students. So teachers that work in the district, even our people service director, I had her as a student. I've had parents as students. So you look at that and you're able to see and watch them. I see them when they're fourth graders going to middle school. I see them from middle school going to the high school, and then beyond that. And they don't know very often how important, how impactful they are back to the teachers and the adults that watch them grow. Because we know that people who touch our lives affect us.
Oh, yeah.
Better people. We take in whatever it is that they give us. It makes us stronger. And in my role, being able to serve more, the more people the older I've gotten, and the more people that I've touched and have touched me, have hopefully helped me to be more understanding and better able to guide all kids. And that's kind of our mantra, as well as we are TR. We serve all kids, no exceptions. And we believe in all kids, no exceptions. And so that's our continual foundation and guidance in our work.
Well, it's obvious you have a passion for this, this calling. It's not just a job, it's a vocation.
Yeah.
And you obviously care about the students, and you care about the families, and you care, you hope that you probably have those moments where, oh, I'm not doing enough, but that you're giving them, the kids, everything that they possibly could ever need, and I'm just thinking, you probably wake up in the middle of the night going, oh, we should have done something differently. Do you ever have those moments?
I have those a lot. I think probably in this time that is so different, the main thing that I think about and I have to keep as my foundation in anything is first the health and safety. And that has to be really everything that guides all my decisions that we make in final. I take all the information. I have amazing team members. I never just make a decision and say, this is my decision. It's, it really is our team. When we look at WeRTR, sometimes it might not be a popular decision that is made, but first and foremost, it has to be the health and safety. And sometimes I think what happens now when we're looking at events, that I can think of in particular, what we have coming up, we have our senior award night, we have scholarship night, we have 4th grade farewell, 8th grade farewell, graduation, prom that was canceled. So what becomes difficult at this time is parents want to, and the community, and there's community members that want to replicate what we've had. And they'll say, can't we do it this time? Or can't we, I'll use graduation for an example. Can't we just have it in July, like schedule everything and just do it in July or do it in August? But the reality and the important thing that we need to remember is, first of all, the graduation is for all students. And we already have students that are going in the military that are leaving in June. So we can't postpone the event, and we can't hold a social gathering. So what we have to do is we have to look at how can we make the best celebration possible for the senior class, because it's a huge milestone. It's the part where you're starting to make decisions on your own. I mean, even whatever you choose, whether it's 2-year college, 4-year college, workforce, or the military, you're making those big decisions now. You're becoming an adult. It's a mile marker. And so when we look, we've met with the senior class. There's an amazing group of people that came up with getting banners for all our seniors that will be displayed on our city streets, which was just amazing. In fact, before it started, one of the seniors had asked me and actually sent me an email and sent me the picture of a school district that had done it. So I did some homework. I looked it up, and it was like, oh, they had 25 students. And then the next question was, how much were a banner? And I just real quickly just looked off of something that we had gotten from Koenig, where they got their banners from Mishicot, and they're outdoor they leave them out all year round, and they were $200. And I thought, there's no way that we can afford that. We have 110 graduates. That isn't going to work. And so that was my original idea. And then what happened is this started, and they said, don't worry about it. It's not us that's going to pay for it. And then Dave Van Ginkel from Screen Printing said, I can make those banners for less than half of that, right, which was absolutely amazing. So all these ideas all came together, and now we have, a fundraiser so people can donate for the banners. It's not going to cost the residents anything, or the high school seniors, and as an administrator, I could not say, would you want to pay, this much for a banner? I couldn't do that, but the community said, don't worry about it. We're going to gift this to our seniors. Right. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So when you think of the things that happen and the ideas that come into play, it takes, only one person to take an idea and to get it started and get the ball rolling. So, hats off, Jay started the idea, and
Jay Remaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just started. Jay Remaker started the idea, and it just snowballed, and the city isn't involved in it. And the school district, the only thing that we're helping with the pictures, and, and we're also, because we have the capability of holding the money in an out account. So the fundraising money will go right into to the account that'll go right back out to get the banners. And it's just seamless. And that's just one. So that's one thing that we have planned for graduation. And then we have some other things that we're talking about, but we have to be really careful, because now the the health department and the state is really looking at the danger of having parades, because parades are a social event. So it causes people to gather. So the one thing that, we're doing currently right now, like we did this on last night. We did the Koenig train. We did the Koenig Hope train. So the Koenig teachers, and we posted it on Facebook. We let the students know, come outside. It is not a social gathering. Your teachers are going to come by. Do not come to the street. And we will wave. It's a chance for us to say hello to you and you to say hello to us. And fortunately, I was a part of it. I was just super touched by the kids' signs, the teacher signs. The Hope train was probably a mile long.
Oh my gosh.
And there is a little video. It's on Facebook, and it's Koenig Hope Train. And what we did is we just took pictures and we just put them to a song. And on Monday, it'll be McGee's Hope Train, and then we have a night for Clark, and we have a night for the high school.
Really?
So Hope Trains, and we'll really stress the importance of it not being a parade. And so when we look at the high school, and we won't, we talked about the parade, we won't have a parade, we'll change it into something else, and not have it announced, just for the seniors to be able to have that experience
Right.
of driving through the city of Two Rivers together, and not making it a social event. And then what we'll do is we'll put everything together before their original date of June 7th, and then we'll have the graduation at 2:00 on June 7th, where we'll do the reveal, and then everyone can see it at the same time. So it'll have our speeches, it'll have them getting, we'll have some pictures in there that'll be taken beforehand that we're going to schedule just with seniors. So we're not making anything a social event. So they'll be able to celebrate, and they'll be able to go through with practices and having those opportunities. And then everyone will have that big reveal together at on Sunday at 2. So that's a component, I think, that our staff is looking at. The same will take place for our 4th grade farewell, are both at Koenig Elementary and at McGee. One is on a Thursday night, one is on a Friday night, and then what they're going to do after that is on a Saturday afternoon, they are going to have the 4th graders come through, and they'll follow all the guidelines of social distancing and making sure that they wear gloves and a mask when they're passing. They're going to give them a gift for 4th grade that they'll hand to those 4th graders and come through. So just little things like that, of bringing them together, giving them the opportunity of that social connection in that transition from 4th grade to 8th grade. In that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, in the transition from 12th grade to the big world.
Right.
What are we going to do, and how are we going to celebrate them in a positive way, and not have to worry that we're not going to be able to do it at a later date? Because I think that's probably the hardest part, is that unknown.
Right.
We don't know. Will we be able to do something in June? Will we be able to do something in July? Will we be able to do something in August? And, we read reports, we read health reports and predictions and what they think might happen.
Right.
But we don't know. We really don't know. So we'll continue to work and have plans that maybe in 2 weeks we can say we're going to do this, so that they know. But to plan far ahead is really difficult at this time.
You don't have a crystal ball.
No.
And the thing is, one thing I wonder is, when May 26th rolls around, is that all of a sudden just going to become a June 26th type of thing? Or, we have no idea.
No, we don't. And having Green Bay be a hot spot, and be so close to us, I think that's something that is really important for us to remember. And we had talked about this a little bit in the beginning, is it's so elusive because we don't see it. But if you talk to someone that knows someone that got sick or someone passed away, or those real stories that it reminds you of why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
Why they call it a pandemic and not the flu. And that's a part that gets hard, because you don't want it to divide your community, because you have people that always have differing beliefs. But the important part is always to show that human aspect, that kind aspect, that respectful aspect, and that important part of working together. Because a country doesn't do what we've done for no reason at all.
Right.
Because we're here to support each other and really look at how do we continue to grow positively for each other.
Now, I know that when we talked on the phone last week, I think, um, you had mentioned some acts of kindness that you were the recipient of.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I know that it meant a lot to you. So do you want to share some of that with
I
us?
absolutely would. And I share them on my Facebook. And that's probably the kindest thing, is when you get a little act of kindness. And it's really not about the gift. It's really about the thought, the thought that comes across, and you're like, that is so sweet. So my first stone I got was probably about 2 weeks ago, I think. And I have them right here. I'll show them to you.
Okay.
On my desk. So the first one I have is, let's see, it's this one here, We Are TR.
And that was just magically sitting on your porch.
It was just magically sitting on my porch.
That's
And
awesome.
so what I did is I read a book, and it's called Stones. And actually I have it on our webpage about making stones. So I did a read aloud about these books. And then I've done stones, but I'm keeping this one. I'll pass stones on to bring someone joy, but this one I had to keep.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
actually I have 3. And I'm trying to think, here. So then this is another one.
Oh, that's really pretty.
So it's a purple and gold dragonfly.
That is cool.
And then this one I just got. This is my newest one. And it was on the rainy day. And it says,
We are TR. That's cool.
Isn't that pretty? And just those it's the little bit of sunshine. Yesterday I got cookies, and they're purple and gold. And the mom and the daughter who made them messaged me and asked if they could have my address, because they wanted to drop off cookies, because that's what they made on their wellness day.
Oh, okay.
And I would show you one, but they made them in purple and gold, and they look so pretty, like too pretty to eat, but they were too delicious. I did eat them.
You ate them up.
I did, and I shared them with my mom as well. And so the student who made them, her name is Charlie, and my mother's name is also Charlie.
Oh, really?
So Charlie with 2 E's, and her real name is Charlie. My mom's nickname is Charlie.
Okay.
And so I brought two cookies over, and my sister's staying with her, and shared them. Last night after the parade, and just to bring that sunshine. I also got a message the other day, and someone had caught some fish, and it was trout, and they filleted it, and they came and dropped it off. And social distancing, I think that that we always want to make sure that we do that. But I think those little acts of kindness, of just saying, from me to you, I got a little bag with a Uno card and a candy bar, and it said, keep the kindness going. And so that's something that I take very seriously, because I think it's kind of fun to do things anonymously.
Yeah.
You can just brighten someone's day, and it doesn't have to be big. It's a little note or a rock,
Right.
Just say, and these actually don't even say thank you or anything. All it is just a message or a picture that really inspires.
I think that's lovely. Those were very nice. I could just, I'm getting chills, because I can just imagine walking out on my porch and finding something like that. That would just mean the world to me.
Isn't that then? And
yeah.
it's just the little things. And I think sometimes in my position, like you had said earlier, I when I do something and I think I could have done that differently, or I need to get better at it. I mean, the one thing that we know is none of us are perfect, but if we can learn and we can grow, that's the best thing you can give your community. And
Right.
because I serve the community, that is my job. I am a servant, and my job is to serve my kids and to serve my parents and to serve my teachers. And I want to do it to the best of my ability. Of course, I'm also human. I make mistakes in the process, and and then I learn from them and say, how can I get better? And that's something I think even for us as educators, we want to really focus on. Life is about making mistakes. It's usually what you learn the most from. And so in this process of learning at home and how do we get better, we've had this wavy path. It isn't a clear path, and there's hurdles that we jump and probably some potholes on the way. But we need to do it that way so that we can get better at serving our families, serving our students and our families, and how do they best support their kids and do it in a positive way, because we know things can get frustrating if people aren't working, if they don't have enough money, if they're worried about their jobs, or if they're just together in the house too much.
Right.
How do we help and support each other to make it enjoyable? At least that it's not frustrating, because I think that's the biggest part, is you don't want to be frustrated each day in the situation that you're in.
Right.
Thankfully, it's getting a little nicer outside. That can also be a little more difficult, because when it gets nice outside, we don't always want to stay in and do our work. So making that balance as well. This Friday upcoming up Friday is Teacher Appreciation Day. So on our Wellness Wednesday this week, we're going to have Dress Like a Teacher. And so that's going to be a nice little event. And then the 4th of May is we're just doing May the 4th be with you, just for a little bit of fun.
Sure.
But I think that's important for us as a district to incorporate some of that into what we do. It's optional. People can choose to do it. The Wellness Wednesdays, what we found out is by providing those Wednesdays for family activities, those are days then that we do staff meetings and staff work. I had talked about our professional learning committees community. Our teams can get together on their days and really work on how they're changing and adapting to meet the needs so our students can be successful. And then it lightens the load for our students and our families. It's a work-free day, meaning they're not getting any new work, but they can do old work, or they can do the activities that we choose. Some kids absolutely love them, and they really look forward to what is Wellness Wednesday going to be. And some kids don't really want to participate, but we say do something different, whether it's housework or yard work or reading a book or going for a walk or a bike ride. Do something for you, or as a family, play a game or cook dinner, just anything to really take care of you as a person and you as a family.
Oh, I think that's great. And I wanted to talk about Mr. Craig Ristican and the fact that he's leaving the community. Well, he's leaving the school district.
Yes.
As principal over at the high school, but you've got some good news that goes along with that.
Yes, right. And I think I don't think I can talk about the good news without really recognizing Mr. Ristigan. Craig is energy-filled, positive kid supporter. He would do anything for any child to become successful. And it has been a pleasure to work with him on the administrative team as a principal. And he gave so much to the high school, but he is choosing a different path. And so we will always want to wish him the best. We're going to miss him, but we do. We have a new principal. We did something different that we've never done before, and that was we interviewed completely remotely. We did it with Zoom. And Tim Eng is our new principal. He's coming from Platteville, where he's served for 6 years as their principal, has done a lot of the same work that we're doing with professional learning communities. His resume was outstanding. His background check and his references were out of the world. And his interview, he knocked it right out of the park. It just seemed like we were writing his answers. He did such a great job. So this past Saturday, he came to the high school he came to Two Rivers because his family is going to move here. He has a son and a daughter that are going to be a fifth grader and seventh grader at LB Clark, and then his wife. And so Nicole and Piper and Sully. Piper and Sully. Piper is a seventh grader, Sully is a fifth grader, and Nicole is his wife. And so what was really neat is the high school staff gave him a social distancing welcome. So they parked in the parking lot and they brought some signs and they welcomed their family. And then I got to give him on a tour. I did wear a mask because we were going in the building. I was taking his family in there. We had to meet without shaking hands, which I think is really different for us when we think of things that we're comfortable with and what we're so used to doing that we have to take a step back on that. So, we kind of did it was almost kind of like a little chicken dance, welcome to each other, because we were both really excited.
Sure.
We on Zoom. He came to our board meeting. We did our board meeting via Google Meet, but we're switching actually to Zoom for our next board meeting. But he came and introduced himself and talked a little bit about his role in Platteville and how excited he is to be here in Two Rivers. And I think that's another thing, Darla, when you look at family that's willing and excited to come to our community because of what we have to offer. We have beautiful facilities. We have a wonderful community. I mean, our backyard is, I think, is beyond compare with Lake Michigan and Point Beach and our community events and our gorgeous downtown and the little shops that we have that are starting to open up and offer, which is really nice. Some of them even doing the curbside and our restaurants that, it's a great place to live. I've been fortunate that it's a great place for me to work and have my career, and it's a wonderful place to play. We get to live here and play here and work here. Some people just get to play here. And
Right.
so, I think that's one of the benefits of living here, is it's our home, and we're very proud of it. And I love the tagline, "We are TR."
Yeah. Well, I think that's wonderful. And it was, I'm so glad that we had a chance to get together and talk today.
Me too.
And I'm very excited to get this edited all together and to upload it so that the community can watch our conversation and to get a better idea as to what our kids are going through right now and how their needs are being addressed. And I think you and your staff and everyone involved with our children have done a spectacular job. And I just want to say personally, thank you so much for caring so deeply about our children,
Thank
because
you.
it's very important. And I think that you've just, you've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And I think, when you look at that very often, Darla, we only think of our teachers as our classroom teachers, but we are so fortunate because we have our specialists, our art and music and FIAD, tech ed. They are doing things that are amazing for our kids. I know you've seen our show choir and our high school choir perform virtually. The art teachers that are doing projects, our FIAD teachers that have little competitions and then they do little videos of what they're doing. They're creating one, I think of off the top of my head, is where they had to bowl. And so the kids used like plastic soda bottles and then they did little videos and shared it. And that's just one example. Whether it's creating something out on your sidewalk with chalk, with hopscotch and skipping, to making sure that they get that physical exercise. And then we also have our school counselors and our social worker and our school psychologists that work diligently on the wellness and health component. So we have them doing our wellness newsletter, which comes out once a week, really providing support and resources if people are struggling, resources for younger kids to help them to understand what COVID is and what we're going through, for parents, and then we also have them available. If they needed a phone call, if they need support, and I know that they're extremely busy. Just even our social worker, where usually our school social worker works more with our kids. Now, of course, she's spending a lot of time with parents, giving them the support they need and helping them with tools to be able to meet the needs of their kids at home. And we're so fortunate for that, for having her in our district. And our board, she's a new member to our team, but she's from our community. She's from Manitowoc, so she knows our kids sometimes transfer back and forth. So she knows our families. She's made great connections. And then we can't forget our school resource officers, having three, one at the elementary school and then one at middle school and then one at the high school. They do a lot of our home visits for us. So if we do need to contact with the family, they can make those connections. And that's their role. It's not police enforcement and legal. It's really community connection and how do we support each other in this process. So I'm thankful that I get to share the wonderful things that this district does and how many roles that we have, how many people that we have that reach out, even from teachers dropping off school supplies if a student needs it, because not everyone has paper and crayons and a scissors and
Right.
colors in their home, and making sure that our kids have that. And parents have been really open about what I need, what I can't do right now. This might just be too much, and how do we get through this? And as a district and as teachers, our work over summer is going to be continually, how will we be preparing to best help our kids in that re-entry into our next school year?
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And say hello to Tim and congratulations on coming to Two Rivers. And he would be starting in the new school year then.
And he'll start in July 1.
Oh, July 1. Okay.
Yeah, July. So our calendar runs from July 1 to June 30th. So that allows, and the reason for that is it allows us to wrap up a year to June 30th. And then July 1 allows us to prepare for the next school year. So his first day will be on July 1. So then at that point, which is really great, he'll be able to start meeting the staff, working together closer in teams, and then helping us and the families, of course, and the students. So
Absolutely.
it'll be a nice transition.
All right. Well, you take care. And one thing that we had talked about is you could be a featured, you could man a featured episode like once a month that would have to do strictly with, with the school district and what's happening with the kids. And I've been trying to come up with a name for it, but I'm going to leave that up to you because we call like Roger Rusov's segment, we call that the Main Street Minute. So
Right.
just,
I'll
it,
have,
it-
I'll
yeah,
have to think.
okay.
But I would like that. I think that it would be great for the community to be able to hear what is taking place in our schools and where they can go for resources. I mean, one thing that was kind of neat, Darla, today I got an open enrollment request. Now, who would get it? You would think who'd be opening enrollment to Two Rivers, during COVID? But that is just a sign, because we have a name that we are TR, and we're doing some great things, and people have been reaching out to our school to say, our district to say, how did you do that? Or like Mrs. Melbrook, I mean, there's many music teachers that don't know how to do what she had put together, and we have a lot of talented staff, and so it's neat to hear that.
It is. All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Darla.
Well, hopefully, and I'll be talking to you, but we'll probably see you in about another month then.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
this.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that's it for this episode of Two Rivers Talks with Darla and Todd. And I had a lot of fun with this episode. Ms. Quistorf is a tremendous person, and I have a lot of respect for her and for all of the teachers in our school district. My husband and I have two kids that have gotten through college now. They're older, and but we had nothing but a pleasant experience with the Two Rivers School District and met a lot of great people while our kids were in school. So I think this is going to be very nice for the community to know what's happening with our kids because, I mean, face it, if you don't have a kid in school, you really don't know what's happening over, like at the high school or the middle school or what the little elementary kids are up to, which is they're doing some pretty interesting things. So we're going to give this a shot, and I think it's going to go just fantastically. So thank you for being with us today, and see you on the streets, Two Rivers, eventually. Bye bye.
Somebody hears you, you know that, you know that. Somebody hears you, you know that inside. Someone is learning the colors of all your needs. Just the right thing and show that you're understood. Hear your no. Leave your life open. You don't have to. Leave your life open. You don't have to hide. Someone is gathering every crowd you draw. Best decisions and moments you long forgot. Keep them all. Let our formulas find your song. Will divine. Your artesian source. Marshall Field.